Hi, my name is Kerth Gumbs. I've been a chef for just over 16 years now. I've worked in many different Michelin star level restaurants. I've been cooking in London and overseas in Singapore. And my type of food is bringing fresh flavors, very seasonal, but most importantly, they're packed with flavors. So all these little hidden surprises. I love making desserts, and I do it all for the whole menu. And what I've created for you today, guys, is a beautiful spread of salmon tartare with avocado, ponzu, pomegranate, and coriander. Moving on to the main course, which is stuffed sea bream with a prawn mousse, green peppercorn, curry sauce, coriander. Goes with a side of charred broccoli, roast corn, chili compound butter, and toasted almonds. To finish off, with a churros with a Bailey's whipped cream. These dishes have been designed to share, because it's all about sharing together for home, family, friends, and let's get together and do it and taste these dishes together. Hope you do enjoy. All right, guys, here at Banquist, we love to provide you with the best seasonal ingredients. And today we have a beautiful spread of ingredients, and I want to take you guys through it a little bit more in detail. For the starter, we have some beautiful salmon, which we're going to marinate that down into a little bit of a ponzu dressing, which I've made beforehand. And that ponzu is some sriracha paste, some gluten-free soy sauce, some marinated cherry tomato juices, some garlics. We have some chunky avocados, which we're going to mash it down, kind of like a guacamole style. Very nice and rustic, full of flavor, seasoned with a bit of lime juice, some salt, some sugar, and coriander. Where we're going to move on over onto the main course, we have in a lovely, beautiful sea bream, which we're going to boat fillet. I'm going to show you guys that. We can get it done for you. And we're going to stuff that with a bit of a prawn mousse. It's going to be already boat filleted for you. All you guys are going to need to do is make the prawn mousse and stuff it. We've got some lovely prawns here. We're going to go through that a little bit later. And that's going to be served with a peppercorn curry sauce over the top. To accompany the main course, after we stuff that beautiful bream with our prawn mousse, we're gonna have two sides. And what those sides are, we're gonna have some tender stem broccoli, which is gonna be blanched beforehand and then saute it off, finish with a bit of lemon juice and some beautiful toasted flaked almonds. Next, you're gonna have this lovely corn, which we're gonna blanch, char it off a bit, and rub it nicely with some compound butter with roasted garlic and chili. How lovely is that? Moving over to our dessert course, we're just gonna have some churros, dust in some spiced sugar, with a bit of cinnamon, a bit of five spice, a bit of castor sugar, and then we're gonna have a lovely, rich Bailey's whipped cream, which is a bit of Bailey's, some mascarpone, some double cream, and we're gonna whip that up lovely, seasoned with a little bit of ice and sugar, and that is gonna give you a lovely punch of alcohol and sweetness for you to dip your churros in. And there we go. That is your three-course meal for this menu. At Banquist, we try to provide you guys with as much of the ingredients as possible, but there's gonna be a couple of essentials at home that you can find that you will need, such as butter, good bit of veg oil. You're gonna need some eggs, some molding salt, I really recommend it, some sugar. And for the equipment, you're gonna need a couple of mixing bowls, some pots, maybe a roasting tray, and a blender, a whisk, a mixing spoon, and a jug. Okay, first thing is first, we want to preheat our oven to about 180 degrees, and then we're gonna start to do our roast garlic. So take your garlic, just a whole bulb, very easy. Just cut off a fingertip to expose the top half of your garlic. It's as simple as that. Get some tin foil. Some lovely olive oil, put your garlic on. Drizzles with olive oil, sprinkle of salt. That's it. Once it's in there, I'm gonna face it down and I'm gonna cover it up. Just get a little bit more olive oil in there. And the reason why you do a bit roast garlic, because obviously I'm making the compound butter, and unlike normal garlic, which is quite pungent, and you can have that bit of raw taste and that aftertaste on your breath, roast garlic helps to give it a bit of sweetness and caramelization and keep a bit of the garlic flavor, but not as harsh on the palate. And it's quite lovely. So we're gonna put that in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes, 180 degrees. When we open it up, you're gonna see the color is gonna slightly change. It's gonna be nice and honey looking, toffee-ish, and that's what we want. Gonna just put this in the oven now. Okay, so we're on to making the prawn mousse. Very simple recipe. All you're gonna need is some egg whites, some molten sea salt, some double cream, some prawn, and any herb that you like. I'm using coriander, obviously it goes with the dish, but you can use chervil, you can use dill or parsley as well. So here, into a blender, our prawns, the egg whites. We're gonna keep the yolk, so you're gonna crack them. Gently separate the white and the yolks. So, we're gonna crack our eggs directly in the center. And be careful, you're gonna see the egg yolk is on one side and the white is gonna slowly drop away. And there you go, you got your, that's it. Last one, in the center, split in half, be gentle. Watch the egg white drops off. And just keep like passing the yolk over a couple times. Now, we're gonna add a little bit of half the egg whites into the prawns. Pinch of salt. And we're gonna be ready to blend everything down. And here we go. So there you go, that's quite quick. Literally in the blender, you can see it's coming out into a mousse. I'm gonna add the rest of the egg white again. So I'm adding it in stages. If you have a normal blender, not even the bullet, you just wanna add it slowly because it gives it time to process the proteins and really get that mousse, mousse consistency. Make sure everything is down. Good. As you can see, lovely consistency in there. And now we're gonna just start to add the cream. In about 2 goes as well, same like the eggs. We add some at the beginning, and then we're gonna add some again. And there you go, that's done. Gonna check it. So you guys can see, it's nice, moussey consistency, it's smooth. If I was in a restaurant, yeah, I would pass it through a fine sieve, but you definitely don't need to do that at home. This consistency, I'm happy with it. It's lovely, it's smooth. And that's gonna create a lovely filling to go inside. But just to finish it off, gonna just scrape everything out into that same bowl. At this stage, I'm gonna take some of the coriander and I'm just gonna rough chop it. Don't mind if you have a bit of the stalks as well, just rough chop, it's good. I'm gonna just drop that in there. At this stage, we're gonna add a little extra seasonings, a little bit of black pepper, and we're gonna get some lime zest in there. Done. I'm happy with that. Gonna put it in the fridge, let it set up a bit, and then we're gonna use it to stuff our beautiful boat fillet sea bream a little bit later. So here at Banquist, we already provide you guys with the lovely piece of boat filleted fish. As you make your prawn mousse, we're then just gonna be very generous and dot it inside there. You just want to leave a little bit of room so it doesn't completely spread all the way out. That looks lovely to me. Next, I'm going to get some tin foil. A little drizzle of olive oil on your tin foil. A little bit of molten sea salt on the outside of the fish. And I'm just gonna put it in here. Just wrap it up. And that's gonna be ready to go into our baking tray. Lovely fit. Once you've prepped that, got it in your tin foil, we're just gonna put it aside in the fridge until we're ready to cook it a bit later. With the leftover prawn mousse, I'm sure you're gonna have some. Just get it onto some cling film, and you're gonna make a little boudin, which is just a lovely little boudin. And then this, you can just drop it into a pan of boiling water for about 3 to 4 minutes. And it's gonna be a little tasty little fish ball type of accompaniment. So you're not wasting it. Here we go. On the next side, tie it, seal it in. Drop that in a pan of boiling water for about 3 to 4 minutes. It's gonna be a lovely little spring touch until it's lovely and springy to touch. And this is a lovely little accompaniment onto any other dish that you're gonna be doing. So we're on to making the curry sauce. As we know, any dish can be even amplified by just making a good sauce. A good sauce can save any dish, and I love making sauces. So here's one we're gonna be going through, which is a green peppercorn base, a bit of curry spices. We have our shallots and button mushrooms, some brown chicken stock. You can use fish stock as well if you want. Some double cream, garlic, and shallots. So first we're gonna start off with cutting our shallots. Easy, just take the top off, again, down in half. So you're getting easier for you to peel the outside layers off. There you go. Same thing with the next one. So we're peeling these off, we're getting them ready to prep. And all we need to do to these is a thin slice. There's no right or wrong way really, because half of the sauce is gonna be chunky, and some gonna be blended. Boom, next, same thing, I'm gonna take off about 2 cloves of garlic, which is more than enough. Same thing, I just lightly crushed it, easier to peel. For this recipe, you can get a small pan, which you're gonna get to start coming up to heat. A little bit of veg oil inside your pan, warming up. We also have to slice, just a thin slice. When we're slicing, Are we cutting any vegetables in that motion? You always want to try to keep the thumb finger at the back and your first 3 fingers in the front, like this. And this is used as more or less like a lever to kind of help pushing your shallot up so you can be able to bring your fingers back and continue to moving. It's a motion that comes naturally after a while, so don't worry about it too much. Just ensure that you have safety by having your thumb finger out of the way, not like this, because you can easily go like that. So the knife will be hitting against your knuckles, basically, like this. So you're kind of moving back like that. Like I said, these motions, it comes natural after a while. It takes some practice. You can do it talking to someone. You can do it with your eyes closed. I don't recommend it, but you know, this is what you can do. Let's go. But again, don't try it at home. It is just something that you learn and it becomes a second part of your nature. Working with your knives is like you going to school and using your pen or your pencil. It becomes an extension of you. So again, nice little slides. Take your time. Just use the slicing motion. If you have a really sharp knife, like this one, you can do the chopping motion, but it's the same thing. You're walking backwards. But I recommend going the slicing way, because that way you can just have a little bit more control, a little bit more motion, and you're going with it. Done. Same for your crushed garlic. It's crushed nicely. Just rough chop, rough chop. The key with garlic as well, you did rough chop like this, you're gonna have the flavor. But if you really love garlic and you want to bump it up a lot, I always recommend using a microplane to then grate your garlic. This really gives you more intensity into your sauces as opposed to just chopping it down. So I did a bit of both. There you go. I know, right? This is the cutest little thing ever. I know. This is cute. Good. Next, mushrooms. Gonna take off our stalk bits. Just take off a couple of the stalks. And same with the mushrooms, we're just gonna slice them down thinly to get our sauce going. My pan is getting hot here. So while that's getting hot, we have some beautiful green peppercorns. Such an aromatic flavor these gives your sauces. So I'm putting them in. Our spice mix, which Banquist is going to provide for you, it consists of some turmeric, some ginger powder, and some curry powder. So while we got the green peppercorns in the pan, in the oil, just to slightly toast it off a bit, and it helps to release the flavor of the green peppercorns. And then I'm going to start to add my garlic and my shallots. Leave that sweat down for about 5 to 6 minutes, not coloring. We don't want it to be caramelized, really, just sweat nicely and slowly. And right away, you're gonna start to smell that lovely flavor, that aroma that comes from green peppercorns. It's really amazing. So I'll give that about another minute. While that's doing, I'm just gonna slice our mushrooms. Same principle again, just chop away. So it's important, if you're using an induction stove, you want to go on maybe number 6 or so. If you're going to use fire, you just want to have it at medium heat so it's not burning. It's just literally warming everything up. So I'm smelling the pepper. It's coming into my nose now. It's lovely. I'm going to start to add in my shallots and my garlic. Gonna need a little bit more oil. And then back onto the mushrooms. Let's give it a bit of a stir. So you're just gonna keep stirring your shallots with your green peppercorns and your garlic until they are soft and they start to become a little translucent, but not burnt or caramelized. At this stage, I'm going to start to add a little bit of salt because that helps you to break down the shallots faster. Yeah, so that's sauteing itself around and around. You want to give a little bit of attention to the sauce. It's really something that can save any dish. You know, I love making sauces. You want to keep your eyes on it a little bit. It's, you know, it's going 4 to 5 minutes, sweating down. It's starting to break down. You can see everything getting soft there. And once you have it like that, the shallot's coming down. At this stage, I'm going to start to add some of my spices. So we have our curry powder. We have some turmeric. And we have a little bit of ginger powder. One, I like the curry powder in the sauces, which goes very well with the green peppercorns. The turmeric as well gives it a lovely, slight tainty orangey color, and it complements the flavor of curry spices very well. So at this stage, when we got all our shallots, garlic, everything nice and sweat down like that, I'm gonna then start to add my mushrooms. And then we're gonna add a little bit of our chicken stock. Beautiful. Pinch more salt. Just a tiny bit. Gonna let that simmer to continue to release those flavors of the green peppercorn, the mushrooms, the shallots coming together. It's gonna simmer for another 5 minutes. Then we're gonna finish it with a little bit of butter, monte it inside, add a bit of cream. And then what we're gonna do with this sauce is half the sauce, we're gonna blend it, and we're gonna leave half the sauce as it is like this. And what that does is it gives you a chance to even bring in the flavors a lot more, because the green peppercorns will explode in flavor when you give it a bit of a blending, blitzing everything down nice and fine, adding it back, and it gives a bit of velvetness to your sauce as well. Because as you can imagine, working the way you work back then, it was like crazy hours as well. Not that I don't do crazy hours now, it's just that with that and someone always in your head, and it was mental.
What's your hours with it?
Go in the kitchen for about 7:30. You know, finish at 1 a.m. Crazy.
How many days a week?
5. But it's not just that. It was like really intense. Blah 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 blah. Always in the shit. You know, abuse, stitching you up, sabotage. You know, not feeling appreciated, and again, then walking out of there for a month, doing 7:30 in the morning till 1 a.m. That's on a normal week. On a Friday, you'll finish about 2 a.m. You're walking out at a month with like barely 1,000 quid. Barely 1,000 quid. So, now lovely. You got your sauce. It's come together. The stock is reduced down nice. You can see we have the consistency there. You're gonna start to add a few knobs of butter. literally just 2 knobs of butter and a bit of our cream. You can see how beautiful that sauce is coming together nice. At this stage, you just want to give it a little taste. Checking your consistency. All right, spot on in terms of the taste now. And I know that this is gonna become so much more rich, so much more powerful when I do blend it down, and I'm gonna add half back. If you want, you can do it all smooth, but no, I recommend half blended, put it back inside, or you can just keep it as that. So let's get our blender. Again, one more time. Okay, so we're just gonna pour a bit of this inside of here. So you want to take out a bit of the body, which is on the peppercorns, the mushrooms, the shallots, the garlic. You don't have to do so much of the liquid, because this is gonna make a thick paste to help you to thicken this even more. So that's all I'm literally doing right there. Just a little bit of the sauce. Get your blender on. Yeah. Powerful. So add that back into that. And there we have it. That's gonna be our green peppercorn curry sauce. So you should leave this at the side. If you guys have a lot, some can be saved for tomorrow in the fridge. Can last up to 3, 4, 5 days, no problem. But for us today, just put it on the side, let it cool to room temperature, because we will be heating it up a bit later to go over our fish. Okay, so we're on to the chili butter. The garlic has been in the oven for about 40, 45 minutes-ish. Let's check it out. Just grab your garlic. Probably use a bowl or a cloth. It is going to be a bit hot, the foil paper. I have what you call seasoned fingers. And don't worry if you're gone about an hour, you can go an hour and 10 minutes. You can't really go wrong unless you're going to spend like 4 hours in there and it's going to completely back. But we are getting the caramelized flavor out of the garlic. So you want it to essentially cook and comfy in its own skin. And let's see if we're good. So as I said, the tin foil is a little bit hot. And there you go, as you can see how that garlic is, see that? It's changed to these nuggets of golden caramelized soft garlic, which we're just gonna put onto our sieve. Or if they stick to the foil, just get them up, put them onto your sieve. And generally you can just squeeze, look at that. Hot. Squeeze your garlic out. You can let this cool down a little bit. If it's too hot, just squeeze it out. And then what you have in here, just take a back of a spoon and push it into a paste. And it comes through on the other side, and that's our roasted garlic for our compound butter. So you end up with a lovely, full of umami roast garlic puree. So into that, we're gonna now take a lovely chili. Slice it down in half. Just gonna slightly remove some of the seeds. These chilies aren't so powerful, so they're quite nice to eat. Lengthways in half, remove some of the seeds. Then you're just gonna have some little strips. Again, it don't have to be perfect. Even if you get a little bit of seeds in there, it's okay. Just down in strips, guys, really nice and easily. Get them together. And let's just chop this chili across. This goes into your bowl with your garlic paste. Right away, just mixing everything together. Gonna get your knobs of butter in there. The butter is important to keep it at room temperature so it's nice and soft. It's already pliable. Just gonna drop it in there. Couple more. A little bit of black pepper. Continue to mix it. And also a tiny bit of molten salt. So this chili and garlic butter is for the main course. We're just gonna make it ahead of time, so it's easier and accessible for you, which is gonna be spread over your buttered corn. Just gonna grab a bit of our coriander here. Same thing again, guys. Just a little chop. The good thing about this butter as well, you know, if you make it, you have a lot left over, if you're gonna use any herb, that you can use parsley as well. You can store it in the freezer. It still lasts, it keeps a lovely color, keeps the flavors. Drop that in there. It's coming together nicely. It's just important that you have your butter out way in advance so it's lovely and soft at room temperature. And there you go. Gonna have your chili and garlic butter. Pinch more salt. And a little bit more pepper. So great, we're on to making the starter. Here's everything you're gonna need to start to prep your starter and to finish it. So we're gonna start off doing our chunky avocado. Gonna grab your lovely avocados. Straight down the center and around. Cut it out, beautiful avocados these are. A little hit, twist, pop. It's out. Just gonna take a spoon and go around the edges to remove our avocado. This is just gonna be a lovely chunky avocado to go with the salmon tartare. Just drop that all there. Once you have that on the side, we need some lime juice. Just cut your limes in half. Squeeze your lime juice straight into your mixing bowl. I'm gonna start with half a lime And I'll use the other half after, once I've tasted. So when you start with your lime juice, you're gonna put a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, salt, sugar, olive oil. Then we're gonna get some chili in there as well. So what you're doing is making a little bit of like a marinade. Once I've tasted that liquid, which is the olive oil, the salt, the sugar, the lime juice, I can then be able to assess what's the flavor is going to go into the avocado, rather than putting in the avocado and then trying to season it up after. First, we make a base to taste that liquid and then add your avocado to it. So again, we're just going to have some lovely little chopped chilies running through there, a bit of coriander, sticking with the theme of this menu. I'm doing a small dice. You can go a little bit bigger if you want, but I recommend keeping it a bit smaller, so it's easier for you to eat. When it comes to the coriander, guys, I'm gonna use the stalk as well. It's in there, it's nice, it carries a lovely punch of flavor of the coriander, especially in stuff like guacamole and so forth. You need that, so you chop the whole thing. Good. Just gonna mix that around. It's gonna look like a little dressing. And you're looking to get a bit of the sweetness, the sharpness from the lime juice, and a little bit of salt. So once I have that liquid, I'm happy with how that's tasting. It's gotta be quite sharp, helps to keep the avocado nice and fresh from the acidity of the limes. Then simply just big chunks of avocado and drop that in. And when I say big chunks, is because when you put that into the liquid, it's gonna start to break down as well. As the more we stir it around, we mix it around, the lime juice, the salt, the sugars, that's gonna help to break down the avocado even further. So I'm gonna add half an avocado more to this. Oops, popped right out. So when you're mixing it around, you're slightly smashing it a little bit, not too much. So you're gonna end up with something like this. And as the time goes, half an hour, 10 minutes, it's gonna be even more marinated. Flavor's gonna go through a lot more, and it's gonna break down. Lovely. It's very good. Okay. Next, we're gonna marinate our tomatoes. We have some mixture of red cherry tomatoes and yellow cherry tomatoes. And this is gonna be a simple marinade: olive oil, salt, sugar, and a little bit of garlic. Just cut them in half. You can cut any style you want. Do a mixture. Lengthways, horizontal. Do a mixture. So nice. Just Put them straight into your bowl. You're gonna sprinkle with a little bit of molten salt. Tiny pinch of sugar. A little bit of olive oil. Squeeze of lime. And some sliced garlic. And what will happen is, this little marination is going to leave some juices, and these juices I'm going to use later to incorporate into my ponzu dressing. But you guys don't have to worry, the ponzu dressing is already provided for you. But I'm just saying how I made it. There you go. All right, next guys, what we're gonna be doing is our pomegranate. You're gonna get a lovely pomegranate provided to you already by Banquist. Cut it in half, and we're gonna use a back of a spoon. We're just gonna tightly tap the pomegranate, which is gonna release the lovely pieces of jewels here. So just slightly hold your pomegranate in a manageable size for your hand and gently tap the back of the spoon. And as you'll feel in your hand, they start to release, dropping down, and you don't have to bruise them up or waste a lot of time trying to shed it. Again, you take another piece, suitable for your hand, start to tap with the back of a spoon, and all these jewels are going to drop in your hand and going down. If you want to do it just over the top of the bowl, it's lovely. Check to see if you have any of the skin pits in there, which we don't. Just lovely pieces of fresh pomegranate. Rest outside. Just gonna give myself a little clean down. Okay, moving on to our pieces of salmon, which has the skin on it. We're just gonna remove the skin and dice it down to decent sized dices. So what you wanna do is take your piece of salmon, make an incision in, whole piece out, and then slide across your knife. So that's it. Got our salmon meat. Anything that's left on there just comes off, and that's just your skin. Put that in the bin. Next, you want to get a decent sized cube that you can really feel it in your mouth. Not too small, but again, that's personal preference. So I've just sort of gone across some millimeter, some big, really chunky dices of salmon. Salmon is a lovely fatty piece of fish which will go lovely with all the citrus elements and the avocado into this dish. Like we said before, what we have done here is provided you guys with the ponzu. So I'm just gonna take some of the ponzu, a couple of tablespoons over your salmon. I'm gonna take a bit of this lovely liquid off the tomatoes. Just drop that on and leave that marinate. And just before we plate it up, I'm gonna taste it. But in your ponzu, you have the soy sauce, you have a bit of spice from the sriracha paste, you got your sesame oil and everything. So it's already seasoned for you. You don't really need to add much because you got seasoning inside your tomatoes, seasoning in your chunky avocado and your ponzu. Some freshness from the coriander and your pomegranate, and we're good to go. Normally you wanna leave that to stand for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes while it's marinating into that ponzu liquid. And then we're gonna get our plate for plating up. Here we are at plating up stage. This is designed to share between two, so I'm gonna plate this up quite simple and rustic, but what it also goes good with is a slice of sourdough bread that has been toasted off, and do the same thing that I'm doing now, but layer it up on top of a grilled piece of sourdough toast. So, how we go is the chunky avocado. Just gonna get it on there. Couple of spoons. Next, you're gonna take your marinated pieces of salmon. Keep some of the juices, keep some of the ponzu liquid in there. Just a little bit. I'm just gonna pile that up. Get some of your cherry tomatoes. Sprinkle of your pomegranate seeds. Your coriander cress. So there you have it, guys. My salmon tartare with chunky avocado, pomegranate, ponzu, and coriander. Okay guys, we're on to the main course. I hope you enjoyed your starter. And what we want to do is start by putting a pan of water on to blanch our broccoli and our corn. And then we're going to move on to our fish, which we stuffed earlier. The oven should still be at 180 degrees from the garlic from the starter course. And then we're just going to get our fish in there, which we're going to check in about 30 minutes. So, pan of water on. While the water is coming up to boil, literally just going to take our fish straight in the oven, and we're going to check that in about half an hour. Set a timer, guys, to check it out. So here we go. Our water is coming up to the boil now. We're just going to add a little bit of salt, season the water. So we're going to start to blanch the corn. Just put them in. And at the same point in time, we're going to put in our tender stem broccoli as well. I've just slightly trimmed the bottom of this so they can fit into our pan nicely. We drop them straight in. The broccoli should take about 2 to 3 minutes, and the corn, we're going to leave it in for about 8 minutes. We're going to remove the broccoli, just put it in some cold water to refresh it, and then later on, we're going to finish it off. In the meantime, I'm going to get a pan on to start toasting off our almonds, and then that same pan we're going to use to slightly blister our corn once it's finished cooked. Broccoli is nice. You can tell from the bottom starts to get translucent when you slightly squeeze it. Again, this, guys, is a little bit hot, so do be careful. Take it out, put it into some cold water. So that stops the cooking, keeping the color lovely, nice and green. Just one last piece in here. We're gonna let this continue to boil for about 5 minutes. It's cool. Gonna strain off the cold water. So we got a pan, a frying pan that's just dry heat. It's nice and hot. Just gonna add our almonds in. And you're just gonna watch that toasting. It's always good to toast off your nuts. It helps to amplify the flavor and gives it real nutty flavor. Don't burn it, obviously. But all nuts, flavor comes out more when you toast them. Just leave it there. Checking our corn. It's boiling away. Lovely. Still got another 4 minutes. You'll see the nuts starting to release their own oils. I haven't added any oil to the pan. Just naturally leave it toast in a dry pan. So this is good to stand over the pan, watch it being toasted. Because once it does start to toast, it can go very fast, very quickly. So you just want to keep giving it a little bit of a shake and till it's a color that you're happy with. So there we go. This is a color that I'm happy with. You can see it's nice and toasted. So I'm just going to take that off the heat. And leave that for later. We're going to keep the pan on the heat. So we're going to use that to blister or char our corn, which should be cooked right now. Great. Nice hot pan for this. Just take that out. So there we go, we took the can out. This has been boiling for 8 to 10 minutes. You can see that it is nice and soft to the touch, but we're gonna continue to blister it in our hot frying pan on the side here. Just gonna move this out of the way. Bring our pan over onto here, nice and hot. You don't need to cool it down because we're gonna go straight into that pan to give it a bit of a blistering, and then we're gonna get in the tray with a bit of that lovely chili butter with roasted garlic, which we made earlier. Again, keep it at room temperature so it's easier to spread. So I can see the pan is nice and hot, it's smoking. Literally just gonna take our corn and put it down. We got our nice hot pan. You can see it's starting to blister here. That's what you're looking for. Very hot pan. Just a tiniest amount of oil just to help go nice and fast and conduct the heat. So there you go. And just you're gonna roll it over 3-4 times. That's it. Put it on the side, get our butter on, and we are done. So like you can see, it's starting to color here. Nice. So we're gonna turn that over about 2 or 3 times. Nice and easy. Just watching to see we're getting that blistering color on our corn. Don't be shy. This brings out some flavor as well. Just turn it over. Nice. So now that's the timer gone off. I'm just gonna check our fish to make sure that the mousse is cooked. Yes. It's lovely. So I'm just gonna leave that to slightly steam in residual heat. So while this corn is soon done, I'm just gonna get our curry sauce, which we made earlier, onto the stove. Gonna just move this to the side. We're looking for the corn to be blistered like that. You can go a little bit more as well, guys. So I'm happy with that. Then I'm just gonna get our butter. And just cover it in the butter. Straight on, some at the bottom of it. And we're gonna keep turning it over. This is gonna give you a seasoning. Oops. I've just taken my fish out of the oven. I'm gonna just leave it here in the foil paper to continue cooking with that residual heat. Our pan is still nice and hot, and we are going to finish off our corn and our broccoli, which is going to be served on the side of this beautiful main course. So, got our chili and garlic butter in. That's already been seasoned from before. You got the chilies, roasted garlic, the coriander. It's all lovely. Getting ready to plate that up. Bring over a nice little plate. We're gonna drop our broccoli in. Get your sweet corn on. Get some of that butter over there. While your broccoli is cooking, I'm gonna add a little pinch more of salt on the broccoli. Bit of pepper. And you want to keep the butter, not that it's burning, you just want to melt it down. You don't want it to change color. Add as much as or little as you feel you need. It's all nice. You want a little bit to dress over the rest of your sweet corn. So your broccoli is nice and cooking into that. And then we're gonna finish with our toasted almonds after. So here we can see, just take your broccoli nice. We're gonna build that up on top of our corn. This dish again, this is to share. This is to share. So I'm just filling it around because I like to keep all the broccoli stems facing the same way on top of there. And when you got that little emulsion, you can see the butter, it's not really being burnt, splitting a little bit. Just gonna add some more nuts inside. And we're gonna take that, spoon that over. All right, guys. Now, yeah, we're opening up to check our fish, which I can see that the mousse is cooked here, nice and firm. You want to be gentle with it and be gentle. You might have a little bit of the skin sticking, but that's all right. Make sure watch the tail. Fish slice, take that out. Put that onto there. Nice. At the same time, we have our sauce heating up. I'm just gonna finish the sauce off with a little bit of coriander as well. So here guys, you can see the fish is cooked, it's nice, it's firm. You got your sauce reheated. We want to now take some good spoons full of the shallots with the button mushrooms and the green peppercorns and spoon it over the top. Just go for it, guys. So here we go, guys. You want that sauce to be just draped over, nice and thick, nappy the whole fish as much as you can. So there you have it, guys. My stuffed sea bream with prawn mousse, green peppercorn curry sauce with a side of roast corn, tender stem broccoli, a chili compound butter, and toasted almonds. So here, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the main course. Now we're on to the dessert course. First thing is first, you want to get a pan with some oil, which we're going to be using to deep fry. And what we having for dessert? Some churros with whipped Bailey's cream. So first thing is first, just get your oil on. And we're going to bring that up to temperature to about 170 degrees. And for this dessert, you're going to have some churros mixture that's already provided for you, some cream, some mascarpone, some Baileys, and a spiced sugar. Okay, very quick, simple, easy way to make our Baileys cream. Add some Baileys inside. You're gonna add your mascarpone. Some castor sugar. You're gonna mix that around, which is dissolving the castor sugar into the Baileys. And also whisking down the mascarpone cheese. Once that's done, simple, you're gonna start to add your double cream. And you're just gonna mix as if you were mixing to make a normal whipped cream. There's a little bit more mascarpone. Bop. So you'll see it's starting to thicken up. It's getting thicker, but you want to go a lot more. So it's gonna be smooth, slightly holding, nice and soft, like a chantilly, basically. And as you can see, it's thickening nicely. You can see it's starting to do the ribbon stage, what we love to call ribbon stage. And that's like a little holding peak. Just about there is lovely. So I'm just gonna literally give that couple seconds more whisking, and I'm gonna stop it there where it's holding lovely peak. And there you go, guys. That's your whipped Baileys cream. Obviously, you can go a little bit more for Baileys if you like it really boozy, but this is fine. You can taste the Baileys, you got the cream, it's done. Here we go, we can see the oil is coming up to temperature. I'm just gonna do a little tester by cutting some of the churros mixture into the oil, just as a quick tester. And it's very important, guys, when you start off the menu from on your starter course, have this out of the fridge, just leaving it come up to room temperature so it's nice and soft and pliable. So you wanna take your scissors or knife and make a little cut about a finger high. So that's it, I just cut off a bit so we have a little round hole to thing off. Here we go. I'm literally just gonna drop a little bit inside just to see. Yep, it is fine already. So, see it's starting to float. We're gonna then now start to do the churros themselves. Here we go. With the churros, guys, you can pipe these as long or as short as you like. Obviously, I'm gonna use the space of my pan. I'm just squeezing with my right hand. So you can see it's coming out nice and cylinder. And now I'm just gonna cut it. Leave it drop down, make sure it doesn't stick. It should float back to the top in a minute or so. So again, I'm making like little sticks. Cut, just drop it off. Do about 4 or 5 at a time. Depends on your oil, what you're using. If you're using a fryer, you're using a pan at home. But give them space to actually cook. Should take about 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to get a nice little golden color. You can keep checking as well with a slotted spoon. So I can see how these are already colored already. They're starting to get a little puff crispiness on the side, which is lovely, that's what we want. So we're just gonna watch the color. If you're using an induction stove, just after it's come up to temperature about 170 degrees, just leave it on induction number 6 or 7 and let it cook through. And again, you're gonna do a tester, guys, so you can go as much as you want or as less. You got loads of batter. Just gonna fry off a couple more. We're gonna do them in batches. So I did 3 now, but again, you can go 5. It all depends on the size of your pan. And we're looking at that beautiful color to be like this. You can see the crispiness, the bubbles starting to go there. Just gonna take that off and I'm gonna put them onto that. And we're gonna go straight in and cut some more again. If you're right-handed, squeeze with your right, cut with your left. If you're left-handed, squeeze with your left, cut with your right. So again, I'm just making, I can see here guys, it's coming out nice and slow, it's quite thick. And then I'm just gonna cut and lie it flat. Down, again squeeze, cut, down. Give it a little shake so you're not dropping the next one on top of each other. I'm just squeezing it nice. Down. And I'm just gonna go for one more. Seems like a good length. Cut, down. Like I say, good thing about this, you can do them shorter, you can do them longer. You can even make your hole slightly bit bigger, but obviously all this will affect your cooking time, so it's good to just cut about a fingertip from your piping bag so you're ending up with a little circumference like that, almost the size of a 5p or less than a 10p. And then just pipe them into your oil. Give them a little stir every now and then so it's turning. They'll be lightly floating. But you want them to color and cook on the inside at the same time. So it's important to just keep that temperature moderate. Timer on, or just pay attention, look visually, and within a minute or so it should be done. Minute and a half maximum. So again guys, I can see that color is nice, but again, it's a little bit pale. You want a little bit more caramelization, frying. Scoop them out. We can put them onto a paper here. From here, we're gonna sprinkle them with our spice sugar. Let's talk about the spice sugar. Inside of this is just some castor sugar along with some five spice and cinnamon. And that's our spice sugar for today. So there you have it guys, we took our churros out, we don't want them too hot. So we're gonna now put them into a bowl and just dust them with a bit of your spice sugar. And just move them around. Then we're gonna just take them and we start to plate up. On the side of that, nice big dollop of your Bailey's cream. And then I'm just gonna add a touch of Bailey's in there as well, why not? Because you love it. So there you have it. Churros with whipped Bailey's cream. My death row meal would probably be, it's a mixture. Stewed oxtail with rice and peas and dumplings, or curry goat with rice and peas and fried Johnny cakes. This would probably be my death row meal. It's something I grew up with, it's what I love. It's pay homage to where I come from. And you know, yeah. My favorite restaurant, well, a restaurant that I really look forward to trying is Restaurant Franzen Zen by Bjorn Franzen. I love the food that they do, the simplicity, but it looks like it's, you know, full of flavor. I haven't actually gotten a chance to eat theirs yet, but it will be on my list. A restaurant that I really enjoyed, which has come by no surprise, would have been Core by Clay Smith right here in London. It was a great experience, flawless execution. My favorite flavor of crisp would be probably sour cream and onion Pringles or a normal Doritos. My worst injury in the kitchen, one that gave me a bit of a fear for a long time. When I was, you know, way back, a commie chef, I was using one of those thick blenders, the hand blenders, and I was making something like a tamarind marinade for mackerel or something like that. And the jamminess of the tamarind, it starts to slow down the motor for the blenders, for the stick bit when you're pulsing. So little did I know, I just look at the blender, I took this finger right here and I put it in the blender while I'm trying to clear away the tamarind from the blade. In my right hand, automatically just touched the pulse button, and that gave me a nasty little, gives me a bit of fears and shakes now. And I was left with a scar there for a long time. For a long time, I was going through my career quite, apprehensive and nervous from actually trying to use those again. But it's over now, it's gone, I learned it, and that was probably one of my worst injuries. But you know what they say? Every good chef has a good scar with a story to go with it. So 3 dinner guests. That's an easy one. Something I always say, I would love to have, Celine Dion, my kids, and my partner. Reason being, I always say, I love Celine Dion's voice. I think her vocals, her music, my cooking, my kids, fun presence being around with us at a table. It will be a great dinner party.
It's a pretty sneaky move to sneak in 5 kids as one guest, but
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I know. 3 guests, well, 5, yeah, I know. But it won't be all at that time, So I'm going to, guys, take you through how to boat fillet sea bream. The concept is the same if you're going to use sea bass, snapper, red mullet, but here we have a lovely piece of sea bream, and these are round fish. So it's already scaled, ready to remove the scales and also the gills. So here, what you normally will do, if you're getting fresh from your supplier with the scales off, you'll just take your knife and go in the opposite directions, which you're going to force those scales to come off. Give it a little rinse on both sides as much as possible to remove the scales. Then normally I'll just go in, you'll see the 2 fillets in here, the 2 gills, sorry. I'll just go in, you'll see the 2 gills, and we'll just remove them. Take a spoon, take a fork, something to help nudge it out. Grab them gently. They do have like a little bit of spines, but they're not too sharp, and you can literally just pull them out. And that's something with all chefs when you're looking at choosing a fish. It's about looking at the gills to see how red they are. That signifies how fresh they are. Same with the eyes. These have beautiful eyes. It's nice fresh fish. Texture of the fish, it's nice and firm. It's not sticky. It's not slimy. These are factors that you'll always check when you're buying fresh fish. So as I said, now we're gonna go into the filleting of it. And this is called boat fillet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start alongside the spine part, which is this area here. I'm gonna make an incision. And I make a long stride coming down on the side of the spine. So as you can see, it's just a nice little long slice. I'm gonna proceed to go in, staying level and going across. And you'll feel the middle bone, which is the spine running down, and the outside bones coming down. You'll feel that with the tip of your knife. Just try to stay parallel. I'm gonna try to do it so you guys can see. Nice, gentle, long strides. There you go. Once you reach the middle, as same with any spine in the anatomy, you have a little ridge. So you want to slightly go over and come down. And again, just make a slide. And the reason why you choose fish like sea bream or sea bass or snapper is that they don't have as much bones as, like, say for instance, mackerel or so forth, and the fish is a little bit more firm and easier to work with. So here we go again. I'm just going in. Done on one side, nice and beautiful. And we're gonna do the exact same thing on the next side. And it's important when you're working with fish or any type of butchery is to use the item or the product, use the product to your advantage. So if you feel comfortable with it like this or like that, you have to maneuver the fish until you feel comfortable so you can use your tools to prep it. So again, I'm gonna make a long stride right here, on the side of the spine. Incision going in. Slicing up. And once you got it, if you notice, I'm always cleaning my knife. And the reason why I use a glove is because this hand doesn't really get dirty. This hand does a lot, and it's easier for me to work and stay clean as well. So you hear that? It's me going against the bones. Nice and flat. You're not trying to go down, you're just going across. So it's literally across, up and down, across, up and down. Once you reach the center, trying to so you guys can see, you go down, you go down. Beautiful. So I'm going to show you guys here. What we have on each side, I fillet, keeping the center bone intact. So I have one fillet here, one fillet there. And you want to go as low down, but do not pierce the belly part, because this helps you to seal everything. If you're going to stuff it, it just keeps it together and keep it intact. So once you reach down all the way to the bottom, next to the belly, also bear in mind when you're working with fish and you're filleting, just use your thumbs or your fingers. Don't dig into it. You know, don't be aggressive. Just you're patting. I'm usually just touching it with my thumb on the flat side. So once I've in there, I can see that I'm all the way down to the belly. I'm just gonna get scissors in there, and I'm just gonna release the bones gently at the bottom. And there we go, we took out the center bone. And what you're going to be left with is a nice empty cavity. And this is called boat fillet, because normally the fish, how it stays, looks like that. And there you go. It stand on its own. You can put anything in here, you know, any kind of stuffing you love, you can put it inside the fish. It's a good way as well to just pan it, deep fry it, whatever. But that's what we call a boat fillet. I do recommend, when you do guys get a chance, it's a fun little way to practice something new and try something if you're up for it, as a skills test, something I love to do. And there we go. So once we're looking in, then is where we're gonna try to see if there's any left bellies or anything that needs to come out. We can just take it out, give the fish a nice rinse in some cold water. There you go, nice and clean. And the beauty about this fish as well is because there's not many bones in the side of the fish, of the meat of the fish. Once you remove this one, it's very few. So we left a little bit of bone in the tail fillet to keep some structure. We left the head on, again, to keep some structure. And guys, there we go. A sharp knife and a scissors. And that's all you need to do your boat fillet.